wrap it up, you've been working more alongside HR. What do you think? And a big theme on our conference is how do we get HR to be more influential? And my hypothesis is that HR needs to conquer more respect from the company, be more prepared, study more, and that's why we're doing this, right? To get content to people, free and remotely. What have you learned that already you can conclude are stuff that the HR professionals can do better, or that would make amazing HR professionals?
Yeah, so I guess the first thing I would say is, we have a fantastic people team here, but you do need a certain amount of kind of sort of call it executive or CEO level engagement. If your CEO does not view people as a strategic area, it's going to be hard for just the area on their own to gain that kind of influence.
Agreed.
And so David's made this quite clear here at Nubank, and I think that sends a very strong signal to the rest of the organization. And then I think that gives the people team the space they need with the functions to be like, look, we're here to help. By the way, David's on our side to help you, like if you need it. So it's not just on HR to somehow fight for this influence. I think the company has to commit to it as well. My advice though to kind of people working in the people function is that I really do think that the trust or like the space to have influence comes from competence, and that I think you need to be you need to create that kind of trust very carefully. And I think the way to do it is to deeply understand the different functions in your company. We have one Nubank culture, but within that culture there are functions that are quite different. What you want to do with engineering here could be quite different than what you want to do with customer experience. And those differences matter. It doesn't mean that they're two different cultures. It just means that they have different needs. And I think a really good people team understands those needs well and finds a way to kind of continue to push their own kind of what they believe is best for the business in terms of a people strategy, but adapt it in a way that makes sense for those functions. And I think where I see things not go so well is when one of the two extremes, right? Either taking a process that maybe someone in people thinks that this is the best, you will do it this way, and the reaction from the function is get out of here, or the opposite, the function thinking that they can just kind of run their entire own little fiefdom, and not realizing that maybe they don't really know the best way to conduct sort of a great recruiting strategy for them. So I think when they're working together in trust, it's great, and I think you can really make forward progress. But I think HR needs to show that competence, and I think one thing that tends to get I think underestimated is the value of analytics, the value of having a great sort of people analytics team. And because I think what you'll find, and this is a great way to gain the trust of the functions, if you come to those functions with some data and you've really thought about it, it's
hard to argue. Right?
It's hard to argue. If you come to them with an opinion, the first thing that someone who's let's say they're not a particularly open-minded engineer, the first thing they might say is, well, what do you really know about engineering? If you come to them with data, that's a little hard to dispute.
To argue with, yeah.
I heard a great heuristic from someone the other day who worked in people for a long time, which is, a great people function is up to 1/3 is analytics. I think a lot of times the people team has like a single analyst. I think if you want to, and this is kind of what we intend to do, if you want to have a really great functioning people department, I think you really need to invest in data. You can have a good data team to inform that strategy, and then to help create that trust for the function.
Amazing. Thank you so much. It was very cool.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks, man.